Hey guys, Joe here. Today is the weekly Friday update. It's the Friday the 13th, September. Nothing. Actually, there's a few random things that were happening this week. Um, let's see. So, in the process of getting the new system ready to launch that, so that way we can use that instead of what we're currently using. Because right now we're using Jobber, which if it's just not meant for like what we do, but it was kind of like what we just need to stick with for this year because the other program wasn't ready. Basically, it was starting that last winter, and I told them like, look, it needs to be ready by January, like first or second week of January. Otherwise, we're just gonna have to, wait till the following year, and that's pretty much what happened. So at this point, I want to stab my eye, like something in my eyeballs, just because the thought of switching from one CRM to another is like a nightmare. But now it's like we have to add in all the products. So, doing a full inventory of what going through and like it's like starting completely from scratch. So it's like getting everything into the system. So it's taking forever. So, and it also doesn't help that when I'm at work and people are there, like I just get stopped or, things are happening. And so it is what it is, but we'll get there. The nice part is we're already doing pretty damn good as far as, organization and stuff like that. But now we're going to have like inventory and forecasting and all this other kind of stuff. So, we were fine this year without it, but as we continue to grow, it's kind of like what I tell the contractors that are buying from us, when you're smaller, when you're in that, 300, 200, 300, $400,000 range, what you can do and what you can get away with then versus when you're at $1 million a year and you have an extra crew or two and you have office staff and everything else. It's two totally different things. Like, it's just not going to work, right? So the other thing, working on the SOPs, we really didn't get much into that at all this week. It actually did start picking up, which we knew it was going to, start doing. And, but I will say there's a lot of people struggling. It's really bad. We had a customer, not even our customer, like a homeowner that called, and like there was a company that was they took their deposit along with, I think it was like their neighbor and then someone else that they know, and then never, completed the work. So this happened one other time this year. And so hopefully they, rectify the situation. They said they were going to be out Monday. So hopefully that ends up happening. So that was a little bit of a mess. And so I think a lot of contractors are in this, a really bad money situation. And it's something I always warn newer contractors about, and even, ones that have been in, business for several years, like they see it every year, but then don't do anything about it anyway. But you got to be careful if you're collecting deposits. What I would suggest doing to keep yourself out of trouble is that you at least have two bank accounts. So one is your main bank account, and then use one as your like deposit bank account, because what's happening, or like maybe material bank account would be a better name for it, because what's happening is, in the peak season, in the spring, you might collect 10, 15, 20 deposits, but you only use, that money towards like 2 jobs. So there's like, 13 extra deposits that you have on hand. And if everyone gave you like $5,000, you got $65,000 that you never had before, right? And then, for the first few weeks of the peak season, like you're collecting all these deposits, then you're doing all these jobs, and like the money's just flowing. But then towards like the summertime, it slows down. So now instead of having like 13 deposits on hand, maybe you only have like 5 deposits. So like your bank account is like dwindling, right? And then come like the fall is where it's completely evened out, or worse. And so then, like, there's nothing in your bank account. And what happens is, and this what happened here as well, is like there's nothing in your bank, and you still have to order, and pay for the materials for like 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 10 jobs, whatever the case may be. So what ends up happening is, could be a few things. Number one is they're taking a deposit from, customer A and using that for customer B's materials, right? The other thing that a lot of people start doing is they start getting with terms with their supplier, which is even worse. And I was telling my sales rep, it's kind of like getting, using margin accounts for your, this car is really nice. So, sorry. Come on, dude. So anyway, it's kind of like a margin account with a stock market. Is like the problem is they give you a lot of money pretty quickly, at least from what I've seen and experienced for myself. And so like you'll have no money in your account. You have to get like those 5 jobs or whatever, and you also owe your supplier thousands and thousands of dollars. So it's a horrible situation to be in, and it's one of the main reasons. Well, there's 2. So the reasons why we don't offer terms to our customers. Number 1 is because we're so new, we just can't, right? And number 2 is because I've been in this situation, and it's not like a once or twice thing. It was like if I was in business for 7 years, the money was so tight. I ended up always making it work out, but it was so stressful, right? So anyway, be careful with that kind of stuff. What else? I can't think of anything else. It's been a long day. Spending more time learning about ADD and stuff like that. So I've talked about it in other videos and whatnot. But it's pretty funny when you start looking into certain things, especially for the ADD. So, it's for myself, my wife, and, my son, and probably my daughter as well, but she's only 4, is just because it's hereditary, and also with my own family, right? So, on my side, it's so funny. It's not funny, but it's like things that irritate me with like communicating with, my wife or my son or whatever, and even like dealing with my own self. And then I'm learning more and more about like the whole ADD deal and like the different things that go on with it. And now like when things happen, I'm like, this is why, right? So it doesn't make it any easier. It's still frustrating, but at least there's a reason why. So it kind of, I guess, makes it easier. I don't know. It's almost like, and I told my wife this before, is like, we had a lot of issues with my son where he just was, acting out, doing all this crazy shit. He was end up like, and this is why we finally made him go on, Adderall, or I'm sorry, he went on Ritalin, is like he was actually stealing. And so, and he's only 13. And so, I told her it would make things easier if, like, we knew he was, like, just say, extremely autistic or something like that. And because, like, my wife has worked with special needs kids. She was actually, worked in a Swallow type environment, and she worked with, a bunch of special needs kids. And she's like, he's definitely on the spectrum. And, like, so I'm like, it would just be easier if I thought he was, like, severely autistic, right? And, like, so when he was doing these, acting out, like, really, really badly, there was times I would think about that, and I'm like, all right, this makes it easier to deal with. Just because if there's some kind of medical condition and you can't help it, well, then this makes it easier, right? And so it was the same thing with my wife, for her paying attention is, like, non-existent. So, like, trying to communicate a lot of times, it doesn't really work out, and it's like, it would drive me insane. But now with doing more and more research, when these things happen, it's like, okay, So anyway, I pulled up to the house. Really not much. Honestly, I am like exhausted and just mentally done. Just because there's so much stuff. There's with this contractor that was. Hopefully they make it right. It was a big mess. But anyway, I'm not going to get onto that. But anyway, hope you guys have an awesome weekend. If you want to be added to my email list, let me know. I have to go through the comments and stuff and set up something for like a contact form or whatever. But yeah, if you guys want to be added, there is helpful information. I try to send it, every, probably 2-3 times a week, something like that. And then you also get alerted for our Contractor and Crew Appreciation Fridays, which this week, if you're on there, we had hot dogs, spicy sausage, homemade chili, and then for breakfast I went and got donuts from the bakery. So anyway, see you guys. Have a great weekend and talk to you. Bye.